specialized coupling connects the two cabs, giving a combined engine capacity of 1,200 horsepower. Still, the two drivers are going to have to use all their concentration to get the load on the road.
The load that we have to move today is a mobile compactor. It's a very rare piece of equipment and specialized in many different ways. The most important factor with the abnormality is definitely the height. In the municipal areas, sometimes you get electric and telephone cables that are very low, so those are the things we got to consider. The moment it leaves the actual site where it did the compaction, we put like old truck tires underneath the tracks of the machine to not damage any of the paving or pieces of tar or the curbs or anything involved where the machine has to travel. We put blocks to minimize the incline from the ground level to the level where the machine stands on top of the trailer. You've got to take it very slowly and evenly, not to damage your differentials or your gearboxes or your tires.
Vaatjie gaan reguit. Vaatjie gaan reguit.
With the compactor on board and balanced, it's time to take stock of the journey.
Okay, vaatjie, ons is op pad, hoor.
The biggest test is to get out of a very narrow road that we can only go in forward and exit in reverse.
With a successful reverse out of 3rd Avenue, the load proceeds up Central Avenue. Up ahead, the first major obstacle, a busy intersection.
Laat die karre by jou verbygaan, vaatjie. Laat die karre by jou verbygaan, asseblief.
It was a little bit nerve-wracking because there was a lot of guys that did not focus on the abnormal load. They're busy with what they are busy with when they drive their own car and check themselves, but they don't check for you.
The busy intersection at the corner of Rivonia and Central Avenue awaits. Eddie takes the truck into oncoming traffic to make his turn, and a private security vehicle is suddenly caught coming head-on.
Stoot terug, vaatjie, en kom in die linkerbaan.
There's a lot of cars parked on the sides and there's no way and place where the cars can go. So you have to make sure you block the traffic. Otherwise, you damage the curbs, you damage your truck, your tires, and you jam the traffic as well.
The security vehicle and 2 pedestrians are caught in a turning circle. With nowhere to move, this could be make or break for the load.
It was nerve-wracking.
Eddie's pinpoint driving gets the front wheels through the turn.
We were relieved to get through that exit, which is very small.
Driving a big load on the open road has its perks. To have freedom of movement and the respect of other road users around you is something these drivers live for. But at the end of this journey lies Eddie's last significant challenge.
You need maybe a 3 or a 4 meter maneuvering space for your tractor to be able to move your trailer's wheels to miss the gate on the left-hand side.
Eddie makes his approach towards the gates. Any miscalculation could leave the truck and its load stranded.
Maar net van my linker voorwiel hier op hierdie kant, hoor.
Eddie is through with just centimeters to spare on each side. It's a huge sigh of relief for the whole team, with just the offload to go.
The load we are going to load today is a 200-ton beam. It's a beam that is used to load PGMs of platinum. It was designed in such a way that it can take 200 tons of smooth soil.
The structure is split into two pieces. The one piece is about 14 tons, and the other piece is about 5 to 6 tons in weight. So the crane that we've selected for this, even though the structure itself, or the bin, if you can call it, is 20 tons, the crane that will be lifting this will be a 50-ton crane. It's over capacity. Sometimes we also add about a 10 to 15% threshold just to ensure that we are within the comfortable guidelines and safety standards in lifting that.
With the riggers happy, William is ready to load the first half of the platinum bin, the funneled section. It's up to the driver to position his trailer in just the right place for the most even weight distribution. Using additional ropes to steady the load as it hangs, the team slowly maneuver the funnel above the trailer. A load this heavy can easily swing out of place. The trailer readjusts to ensure the correct balance is maintained. The funnel lowers. The weight is just right. Now it's time for the second component of the bin to load. With less line of sight, the driving team has to rely on effective communication to ensure he's in the right position. Trees, telephone lines, and a sharp left turn onto the road all make this a perilous undertaking for our drivers. Pascal and Talent guide the vehicle through this tiny gap. Any damage to the load could have serious ramifications later on. The load is safely out the gates, barring a few scratches from the overhanging branches. It's time to hit the road. But the open road is not all plain sailing.
The risks on the road, we've got the risk of the other people, they don't understand the abnormals. Even if we are traveling at the street, they just came to you. So they can come to the load, you see. Even if you show them it's abnormal.
The storage bin has reached the provincial border between Mpumalanga and Limpopo. And it's here that it has to wait for a new provincial escort to accompany it over the last stretch. Traffic escorts aren't just there to satisfy bureaucracy. For the abnormal load drivers, they offer security and safety, not just for themselves, but for other road users. Eventually, after a long wait, the Limpopo traffic escort is here, and the drivers can take off again. After a week on the move, the concentrate bin arrives at its destination.
This Hitachi 2600 is used for overburden stripping. This is one of the machines that we needed for the operations that will be in production in the next month.
Despite being a mode of transport capable of its own locomotion, the hard soils and grit of the open roads can damage these tracks, hence a need to be transported rather than driven. Loading the excavator onto the trailer will take some ingenuity and a lot of elbow grease.
What could go wrong today? Maybe some hydraulic cylinders bursting because of the settings not right on the trailer. That becomes a problem and the whole thing can topple over. You work with machines and all that, there's always a little bit of stress around it and worries about it. We try to minimize that to quadruple check everything, every valve that must be open is open, everyone that must be closed is closed.
This is precision driving, and all in reverse. As the low bed lifts, it takes the weight of the excavator, lifting it off the ground. All's going according to plan. All that can be planned, that is.
Weather's always a problem. It's a challenging one today. Big problems, obviously it's rain. Previous times we had slipping or spinning because it was wet. With abnormals in South Africa, you're not allowed to travel when you have to put your lights on. So that's either mist, rainy or at night.
The rain clouds in Urgis have lifted, and the team see an opportunity to spring into action. But lifting the 254-ton apparatus is going to need a little more horsepower than Fritz currently has. Luckily, he's come prepared.
In South Africa, although it's not on public roads, we need at least 20% traction. We use two 600 horsepower front horses with a normal I-shift gearbox. The second one, or the one coupled to the trailer or the gooseneck, is with a Allison transfer box and a torque converter, which transfer the power much better down towards the wheels. They don't have clutch pedals anymore, it's only brakes, it's all automatic.
A specialized coupling connects the two cabs, giving a combined engine capacity of 1,200 horsepower. Still, the two drivers are going to have to use all their concentration to get the load on the road. The engines start to turn. Will the excavator budge? The combined power of two cabs overcome the 254-ton weight, and the load is free. Next stop, the Tau mining yard, just 11 kilometers away down one dusty district road. It's quite literally straightforward, but the sandy terrain and the ever-present threat of rain make it more complicated than it seems.
The 11-kilometer bit that's in front of us feels like 111. Obviously, it's metal fatigue and its stress levels are more, the concentration is more. You can break pinions, you can break axles, you can pop a cylinder. So there's a lot of things that can happen that we don't want to let it happen.
But the rain clouds have abated and the end is in sight.
When you finish and we deliver the load, then it's all over. Okay, it's offloaded. It's job satisfaction. It's feeling proud. Accomplish another tick on your box. We've done that. Right, what's the next challenge? These are in our blood.